According to Barry Commoner, everything is connected to everything else. Everything you do has a consequence and impact on something or someone else. Right now, all over New Jersey, the country, and other countries around Earth, we are losing the battle against pollution and proving that there just might not be a future in 100 years. According to many scientists and websites, one of the main reasons why we may not have a future is because of water pollution. This documentary has been created in the benefit of informing you of what you need to know and how you can help prevent water pollution. A website called Everything Connects says that water is where life began and why life continues, but it is also the world's most threatened essential resource. The website states that 75% of planet Earth is covered in water. 97.5% of that is oceans, and 2.5% is freshwater. 70% of freshwater is divided into glaciers and ice caps, and the remaining 30% into land surface water, such as rivers, lakes, ponds, and groundwater. Most of the freshwater resources are either unreachable or too polluted, leaving less than 1% of the world's freshwater, or about 0.003% of all water on Earth, readily accessible for direct human use. 70% of this unpolluted freshwater is used for irrigation, 22% for industry, and 8% for domestic use. This tells us that we have a small amount of water we actually have access to, and we don't exactly have a lot of it left. We did some research ourselves by conducting a few interviews with people from a community in New Jersey. We asked them 4 general questions. Here are a few of the interviews we wanted to include. Mr. Leibrecht, in your words, what is water pollution?
Water pollution is contaminating the groundwater source for places or cities or people. That's when factories pollute the water around them, the rivers, and the environment, and it seeps into the water source.
Is water pollution a more serious threat than other types of pollution?
Water pollution can be a more serious threat because of the fact that water is a very viable, and people need water to survive, to have something to drink.
How would you say polluted water is responsible for disturbing ecological balance?
Well, an example of polluted water being responsible for disturbing an ecological system is like factories, when or like we call it like new factories that use water to cool the reactor. The water can come out, and the hot water will pollute the river, and the water temperature change can kill off the fish.
What are some ways the general public could get involved to help lessen the problem?
You can monitor what we do with the water. Take care of what we put in the soil around us so that it doesn't seep into the groundwater, and just pay attention to how we treat our environment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Leibrecht, in your words, what is water pollution?
Water pollution is making the water that we have dirty so that we can't use it.
Is water pollution a more serious threat than other types of pollution?
I think it is because we only have a set amount of water, and if we get that dirty, we won't have any more.
How would you say polluted water is responsible for disturbing ecological balance?
If the water gets polluted, then some of the animals that live in the water or drink the water are forced to go somewhere else, and it changes the whole ecological balance.
What are some ways the general public could get involved to help lessen the problem?
Cleaning up the water, not polluting, making sure not to flush anything down toilets, taking care of what we have and not wasting the water. When you brush your teeth, don't have the water going. Taking less baths and more showers, and just keeping the water clean.
Thank you. We even spoke with Jim Zott, an environmental scientist who works for the government. When we asked Jim what the government has done to reduce water pollution, he told us that they created regulatory guidance and ensured treatment processes eliminated waste from the water cycle. We then asked, how does urbanization and industrialization contribute to water pollution? Jim's response was that both increase the demands on toxic loads contained in the water. This increases the difficulty by adding additional treatment steps that are needed to remove contaminants in a specific sequence. The last question we asked was, what is eutrophication and what causes it and what are the dangers of it? His answer was, as a pollutant enters into a water source like a river or stream from a source like a spill, the chemicals react with biological organisms, removing the oxygen. This dead zone extends for a distance where any biological entity, like fish, plants, and insects, are affected. The next zone is where life is only partially impacted. Jim also included that cleanup may require removal of contamination to include the soil. Difficulty includes extending the dead zone with the removal of additional past contaminations. We decided to do a little more research after speaking with the scientists. That is when we found that National Geographic did a piece on water pollution. They wrote that as technology improves, scientists are able to detect more pollutants and at smaller concentrations in Earth's freshwater bodies, containing traces of birth control pills and sunscreen to pesticides and petroleum. Our planet's lakes, rivers, streams, and groundwater are often a chemical cocktail. They also stated that technology has offered a solution in the form of expensive filtration and treatment plants that make our drinking water safe to consume. In conclusion, we hope this documentary has informed you the way it was created in hopes of doing. Before we go, we would like to give you a few facts about water pollution. Nutrients pollution. Nutrients pollution is when too many nutrients, for example fertilizers, mainly phosphorus and nitrogen, are added to the water, causing excessive growth of algae. Where the algae die, the levels of oxygen decrease and aquatic animals die. Surface water pollution. Surface water pollution is when harmful substances invade water bodies such as oceans, rivers, seas, and lakes. Oxygen depletion. Oxygen depletion is when too much biodegradable materials promote microorganism growth and they use almost all oxygen in the water. All aerobic microorganisms die because of the lack of oxygen, and anaerobic organisms start producing harmful toxins such as sulfides and ammonia. Polluted water is dead water. It has no life in it, and it can kill everything in it. Plants, microorganisms, animals, humans, and even bacteria. High concentrations of pollutants have tragic effects on all living things. Thank you for watching.